Hello and welcome to Hotline. My name is Linda Pang. I'm a senior at Cedar Falls High School and I will be your host for today. On today's show, we will be talking about community service in the Cedar Valley. Would each of our guests like to introduce themselves and their organization?
Hi, I'm Maraiki Yang and I'm a co-leader of the Cedar Falls High School Volunteer Club.
I'm Astoria Chow and I'm also a co-leader of the Cedar Falls High School Volunteer Club.
Hi, I'm Lauren Fink, the director of the Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley, a community nonprofit organization.
Hi Linda, I'm Tom Wickersham. I'm with the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa.
That's great. So what, in your own words, is volunteerism?
Volunteerism is working hard to improve your community without the expectation of anything in return.
I think it's like unpaid labor used to help out the community and improve it, and it's done with a goodwill.
I think the two students really hit it on the nose, but definitely it's the idea of giving back to your community and wanting to make a difference through the acts of service.
I'm not sure I could add much more to those wonderful answers.
All right, so why is volunteerism so important to you?
I think that giving back to your community is a super important part of just being a good-hearted citizen, and it's really satisfying to be able to say, I got to help somebody today, or I made someone feel special or happier or improved somebody's day, and I think that that's a core value in volunteering.
I think, well, you get back what you put in, and to grow the community and to improve it, you have to be volunteering. And it's really beautiful just to feel like you've made someone's day or helped someone like have just a nicer day.
It's really true when people say that they want to give back to show improvement in their community or be connected in that way. And I think it just goes to show that people truly do want to make a difference and have an impact and leave a lasting legacy in what they're willing to do.
But I think it's important to realize too that so much of the way we live in this community is built upon the need for volunteers. So you can look at the folks that might run for your school board, for example. The schools couldn't run without those volunteers doing that work.
So let's talk a little bit about each of your organizations and how those relate to volunteering. Let's start with Tom.
Sure. Well, the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa, which started in 1956, started as an all-volunteer run organization. And right now, we utilize hundreds of volunteers to do our work. And our work is built around providing grants to community organizations, to nonprofits, and government entities, and our volunteers help us with that process. And of course, we couldn't do our important work without the donors, the folks who've actually made financial contributions to make our work run. So volunteerism is at the core of our work.
So at the Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley, we connect with about 160 different nonprofits in our community. We know there's a lot of people who want to get involved in service experiences. We know there's a lot of agencies who need those volunteers, and so we act as kind of that middleman or that one-stop shop. Mm-hmm. The ability for people to come to us and find opportunities, and we help them interact and get engaged with those experiences. In addition to that, at the Volunteer Center, we run a youth program, which is actually funded in part by the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa, and that's really to help youth of all ages. So it's all the way from 3-year-olds, preschool age, through college, to really get involved and learn how to become active and engaged citizens through the act of service, knowing how to make a difference in the community, design plans to make a difference, and then work on service projects as well.
Okay, so the Cedar Falls High School Volunteer Club aims to promote volunteerism within the student body and to provide volunteer opportunities there. And we also fundraise for some organizations and organize projects that can address problems or needs the school has, such as like peer tutoring or the volunteer fair. And, yeah.
I think Astoria hit most of the key points, but definitely Volunteer Club, we like to help connect the students to different ways to volunteer in the community and just connect them to other students who have the same passion for helping others and trying to give back to their community.
So I've heard you guys say very similar things about your general goals for your organization. Would you say that there is a lot of intercommunication and a lot of collaboration between your organizations?
Yeah,
For sure. So we're attending the volunteer fair that's coming up in, 2 weeks or so at Cedar Falls High School. And Tom and I collaborate on a lot of different things. In fact, we've had good conversations just waiting for the show to start on
Right.
continued partnerships as well.
Yeah.
So I think we see that, throughout the community in general, there's a lot of collaborations as it relates to volunteerism. So whether it's amongst, our group here or a lot of the other community organizations and funders and individuals who want to give back.
So what are some specific ways that you have each seen volunteerism impact the Cedar Valley?
Well, one specific way that I like to talk about is one of our volunteer club members, Maya Gabriel. She has this program that she started called Barking Book Buddies at the Humane Society, and we like to help connect students in our club to her. And what they do is they have kids volunteer to read storybooks to the animals in the shelter, and it's a really great way to get kids involved in the adoption process and to practice their reading, and Maya to connect all of that and organize that as one big setup.
So are the volunteers all high school students, or who can participate in this program?
High school students help organize it, and then children K through whatever age can read to the animals, which is great.
That's great. Storia?
So I've been volunteering a lot at the hospital, at Covenant Hospital, and as well as Sartori, and sometimes I'll bring my violin there and play for the patients, and it's really nice to see how that makes their day or makes their stay a bit more comfortable.
For sure.
One of my favorite stories is one that actually just happened over the course of the fall semester.
Wow.
Our youth program coordinator, Jean, who is the one that runs and manages our youth service learning program at the Volunteer Center, shared with me a story of a group of students at one of the area middle schools in Waterloo that were participating in a service learning opportunity in their classroom. One of their projects that they were focusing on had to deal with self-image and anti-bullying things, and one of the small things that they came up with, they were working with a community partner to develop a service project, but one of the small things that they came up with as a project was to stick post-it notes inside library books at their middle school library that just had really positive messages in them, just short, simple things so that somebody would check out a book and they'd read it and get just a feel-good, warm, fuzzy moment.
Wow.
I see lots of examples on a regular basis, and some of them are very moving, some of them are very straightforward, some of them are very focused. As a grant-making organization, we provide grants to the nonprofit sector, and many of those nonprofits are completely run by volunteers. And so I see the volunteers who are working, say, in the schools to make sure that students have all the necessary materials at the beginning of the school year. Or I see the volunteers who are, one of our grants this past fall, speaking of music, was to help do some after-school music classes in one of the schools in Waterloo. So I see it on a regular basis, and it's a fantastic thing.
Volunteering does sound like such an amazing opportunity, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people in the Cedar Valley who would love to participate. So what are some ways that people can get in contact with your organizations or can get active in volunteering?
Well, they can give us a call, visit us online, and find out get our contact information. We're at cfneia.org, and we can put you in touch with any number of our staff, whether it's volunteering maybe to serve on one of our committees or volunteering in some of our surrounding affiliate counties that we oversee in our 20-county area.
So, as I mentioned, the great thing about the Volunteer Center is that we kind of position ourselves to be that one-stop shop for people who are interested in volunteering. The other really great thing is that we have a fantastic online database through our website, which is vccv.org, and anybody can jump on there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and browse through hundreds of available volunteer opportunities from the agencies that we partner with. So all of our agencies have the opportunity to upload their opportunities on a really regular basis, and they do that. Yep, there's our website right on the screen there, and you can actually, where in red it says Find Community Volunteer Opportunities, opportunities here. Just click on that. It's a clickable link. Opens up a brand new fresh page with our database on it, and you can start the browsing process by either looking through agencies. You can browse through just opportunities, or you can even use the calendar function and see if there's some up and coming one-time events that maybe you want to dip your feet into, some volunteer opportunities and get connected that way too.
We very much use the VCCV website to find opportunities and to find organizations or places we can volunteer at. So, yeah.
Yeah, as a group, we like to point our club members in that direction as well. If they have any personal ideas when it comes to volunteering, we send them that way.
So about Volunteer Club specifically, when did this club start and how do you imagining it continuing in the future?
It actually started last year. A student, Asta Chandra, she started the club and passed it along to Astoria and I after we worked really, really hard last year in the club. And we've been trying our best to keep it going and promote volunteering throughout the entire school. So that's been our overall goal, is to just spread the message of working together.
Yeah, basically what she said.
So are there some specific all-inclusive volunteer opportunities in the Cedar Valley?
Well, I mean, of course there are. I would say that the majority of the opportunities that we have posted at the Volunteer Center are good for people of all ages. All abilities can get connected to those opportunities. And if it's something that won't necessarily work, we're for sure there to help talk through different opportunities and ways to help them get connected to something that maybe is a better fit for them as well.
And community foundation specific-wise, how is volunteerism related to philanthropy?
Well, there's an underlying misconception that philanthropy is about giving money,
Right.
and philanthropy is much more than that. So a lot of the volunteer experiences we've just been talking about today have to do with giving of time and talent. So those are just some of the ways that they kind of fold under that umbrella of philanthropy.
So how often would you encourage people to volunteer? Start with Marika.
As often as possible, just any free time that you possibly have on the weekends, or if you think that one Saturday, oh, I have 2 hours to just do whatever, I think that it's a great idea to just spend that time, any free time that you have, to go out and just say, I can go volunteer here for a certain amount of time and just help somebody's day.
For sure.
Any free time as well, and volunteering can be fun too. Like, you can ask your friends to join and it can be like a group outing, or if you can dedicate yourself to one organization or place, and that way you can really see impact and learn.
And as a high school student, how does volunteerism specifically impact, applying to college or maybe other high school opportunities that you've had?
Well, colleges really love people who volunteer out in the community.
For sure.
And it definitely gives you a different perspective as well. You'll meet people you wouldn't usually meet and learn communication skills as well. Yeah.
So from outside of the high school perspective, how often do you see people volunteering, or how often would you encourage volunteering?
Well, I think the great thing about volunteering is you can do it as often as you want to. There's enough opportunities out there for people to get connected. The other good thing is that all the opportunities don't have to happen just on site at the organization. There are ways for people to get connected virtually, to do things, from a home computer, or to pick up items that need to be completed and do them at home or off site and then take them back to an organization. And so there's ways to get people involved, even if they don't have the regular 9 to 5 time frame to go volunteer. A lot of our organizations that we work with have varying hours where they accept volunteers to come in and do activities, or there's events and things on nights and weekends. So it is a wide variety.
Anything to add from a community foundation perspective?
Well, I just, I say go out there and volunteer as much as you can, and be careful because you might become addicted to it.
Right. So speaking of volunteer opportunities, we have some visuals from each of your organizations, if you would like to narrate the pictures that we're going to show.
So that's mine. That's the Volunteer Center's website. I think we talked about that. It's just one way to connect with us. You can also give us a call, send us emails as well, but it's a great way to find opportunities.
This is a photograph of the Teen Trust program run through the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa, and we have somebody on our panel who's familiar with that program. And we could talk about Teen Trust and more, but
Yeah.
this is an example of one of the programs giving a grant to the Boys and Girls Club. This is a snapshot of our scholarships available through the foundation. Each year we award about $400,000 in scholarships, and some of those are actually tied to students who do volunteer work. There's another group of our Teen Trust students getting ready for a full retreat.
Oh, this one's one of mine. We did a day of service event with Wheaton Franciscan Healthcare, I think last fall, and they are here getting produce out of the community garden at the Northeast Iowa Food Bank. And so these are all things that they've just gleaned from the garden, and they're getting ready to go prepare them for distribution. This is also a picture from the Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley's MLK Day from last year, where they were making birdhouses for a community organization. Actually, I think they may have gone back to ISU Extension, Black Hawk County, and that they were used for a program that the Extension office was using, but our students that participated in MLK Day had a great time painting. This is another picture from the Volunteer Center. We have a group of students that are high school students that are part of the Volunteer Center's Youth Action Council. And last year they went down to Des Moines, to the Capitol, to do some conversations about mental health. And here they are talking to Senator Dotzler, I think. And then this is from our most recent MLK Day opportunity that we had at the Cedar Falls Public Library. We had stations set up with 6 or 7 different service projects that were supporting different community organizations, and these are just some of our young participants. It was a very youth-focused, family-friendly, elementary age opportunity this year, and so we had about 125 or so youth and family members running around the library doing great activities.
I've heard you mention MLK Day a lot. Is that usually an annual event for the Volunteer Center?
The Martin Luther King Jr. holiday is a federal holiday, but really the idea behind it is that it's supposed to be a day on, right? Not a day off.
Okay.
And so it is a national day of service, and you see a lot of students getting involved, and a lot of people around the country getting involved in finding ways that they can give back and carry on Dr. King's legacy.
That's great.
Yeah. And this is a picture of a volunteer fair that we host annually at the university, and it's the Salvation Army just having conversations with students, and we're so lucky to have a partner in the university and their interest in having their students, their faculty, and their staff engaged in service experiences, and so this is just one way that we help them connect.
Okay, this is of the volunteer club, and this is like our only picture, so we realized we should probably take more pictures of our outings.
Sounds
But
great.
this is us after we volunteered to put together luminaries at for the holiday hoopla.
All right, so we saw a lot of pictures of Teen Trust there. I know some of my classmates are involved in Teen Trust. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure, it's a great program. It's an annual academic year program where students from all of the Black Hawk County high schools participate, are represented in this program. And there's 26 students each year, and they collectively are entrusted with $10,000. And then over the course of the year, they learn about community needs, they do a community assessment, they go out and visit nonprofits, they do some service learning. Then they design a grant application and encourage nonprofits to apply to them, where they consider the pros and cons of each of the application and then award the $10,000 out as grants. So they really get a high-level experience of what it means to be a funder and what it means to be connected to all of these organizations in the area. And I know I'm not the only one who can speak about Teen Trust.
I'm also a member of Teen Trust.
Yeah.
And I'm a part of the fundraising committee, which has been super fun. And we also get to fundraise funds to add to the $10,000 to
That
hand
sounds
out as
great.
well.
So this sounds like such an amazing opportunity. How should students get in touch and be a part of Teen Trust, and how are members of Teen Trust chosen?
You can definitely go online to the website that Mr. Wickersham talked about earlier to find out any information about Teen Trust and application and all of that sort of thing.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the application process?
Well, sure. So students apply to be on Teen Trust. I think it starts around March, and this year's trustees will select next year's trustees.
Wow.
So they run the program. I don't do anything in the program. They make all the decisions on who makes the grants and the service projects that they do, how they do their fundraising. How they connect and build across the different schools. So we have students here who are at Columbus and Union and Dunkerton and Hudson, and they might not have had a chance to meet each other. And so this is a great chance for regular building across our community.
So speaking of high school students, I know that your volunteer club is very much high school specific. Have there been any specific challenges working with high school students?
I would say just scheduling and getting people to come together all at one time. High school schedules are all over the place, and it's just kind of a struggle to get everyone in one meeting at the same time. But luckily, sending out messages has been a key factor in making sure everyone attends events and knows the plan when it comes to where we're volunteering and when.
So are there weekly meetings or any specific outings that are planned ahead of time that are kind of annual occurrences for you guys?
We try to meet weekly on Wednesdays during Power Hour, which is like a time for students to eat lunch or like free time for students. And then we also try to plan like a monthly outing to like nursing homes or just nearby volunteer places.
And from an adult perspective, how have you seen challenges arise when you're volunteering or even organizing volunteering for others?
Well, I don't think it's probably much different than the timing issue that you guys discussed. I think, you know, everybody has time constraints, and the ability to give up time to go volunteer is always going to be an issue depending on people's schedules. In addition to that, you know, I think a lot of times people are a little apprehensive about trying new things.
For sure.
And you know, if they're not quite sure what they're getting involved in, that can make them a little scared or hesitant to get involved in those activities. So sometimes it's nice to, you know, grab a friend and have that support system to be able to go and jump in and try new things, or get involved in a local service club or organization as a way to meet new people and make it a little bit more comfortable in finding those opportunities as well.
Any specific challenges that you've been met with?
Not a one.
Not a one.
Sure, obviously time constraints is a challenge, but I think there's also opportunities that come out of that too. So I've seen instances where a volunteer might have sort of been unable to make a commitment that they signed up to do.
Yeah.
And then what I've seen them is double down then. So the next time they say, well, I'm going to do more than the next time that they have that opportunity. So they really throw themselves into it and sort of make up for that. And I think it all works out in the long run.
That's great. So now that we've talked a lot about how volunteerism can help the community, how can that also help build a resume from a professional standpoint?
I've definitely organized my volunteer efforts and achievements into my resume, and I believe that that will help me when applying for colleges and just worldly experience in general, because getting involved in volunteering means that you're more connected to other people of different backgrounds and different cultures and all sorts of different things. So I think that's helpful.
I think volunteering shows that you have a sense of goodwill for the community, and it also broadens your perspectives, which is very important. And then as for your resume, for example, like I volunteered at the hospital and I plan on going into the medical field. So volunteering can also be a way to develop your own skills as well as help out the community.
So not only are you gaining new skills from getting involved in service experiences, I think it also does open the door for some possibilities of things that maybe you didn't know you were interested in doing, or you didn't have the background in doing that. And not only that, it's networking. You're meeting new people and having the ability to network, and who knows where that could take you, whether you connect to find other scholarship opportunities or other volunteer opportunities or potential jobs. At the university, I have often seen or helped connect students with volunteer opportunities, which have then led them into internship opportunities,
Wow.
which then have turned into actual paid, employment post-graduation. And so, it's just a great way to build those relationships scholarships, which can help you lead to, move into your future.
And I know we touched upon this earlier, but we do actually have scholarship funds available for students who have demonstrated a commitment to service learning.
Wow.
And through the foundation, our scholarship application is open right now. And if you're at the high school, if you're a senior in high school right now or a junior, we have scholarships available for juniors. You should consider applying if you've got some experience in volunteerism, because there are some scholarships that that's a part of the requirement to be considered for it, and some that's the only requirement to be considered for it.
So what are some common misconceptions about volunteerism that all of you might have noticed?
I would say people thinking that it's not worth the time. And I think
sure.
that misconception is completely wrong to consider when it comes to volunteering is amazing, and people should definitely throw that out the window, because volunteering is a great way to meet people, it's a great way to gain new life experiences, and I think that people should throw that out the door.
I think a common misconception is people think they don't have time. I think if you can set aside an hour a week to volunteer, that's plenty. And then also that some people think volunteering is more of a chore, or it's like boring. It's kind of like something you have to complete to like graduate or something. That's not the way it is at all. It's very fulfilling, and you can have a lot of fun.
I think it's common to think that people are getting involved volunteering to help other people, but so often we hear of stories of people actually gaining something from the experience and actually gaining more from the experience than they feel like they're helping others. And so, as Tom alluded to, sometimes volunteering becomes addictive, and I think that we see people
Right.
getting involved because they are getting such great benefits from volunteering themselves while they're out there helping others in the community too.
Mr. Kellogg, and I'm trying to remember his first name, who started Kellogg Foods and the Kellogg Foundation, said that he is a philanthropist not because he wants to do good, but because, or in the past, he's now long since passed, but because he's selfish. He wants to do it for his own reasons, and that's part of that reason.
So what are some maybe holiday opportunities for volunteering? I know we're just kind of phasing out of the holiday season, but I remember you talking about Holiday Hoopla. How specifically did Volunteer Club help with that?
Holiday Hoopla was a great event for Volunteer Club. We helped build luminaries and set that up for the community, and then we were able to manage them during Holiday Hoopla on Main Street, which was really exciting for us, and it was just a great way to get in the holiday spirit.
The Volunteer Center puts together a holiday guide annually, and so that usually comes out right at the very beginning of November. That's when we start seeing people gear up for wanting to get involved, and it includes opportunities from assisting with meal preparation or delivery or serving of meals, things with Holiday Hoopla or Community Main Street. A lot of different organizations have a lot of different functions around the holidays time. So we always like to put together a guide of kind of everything in one spot.
Right, that sounds great. So as we're wrapping up, are there any last few words that each of you think that people should keep in mind when they're volunteering?
Get out there and volunteer. It's awesome. You'll love it, and you'll be helping in so many different ways, yourself and others.
Yeah, just keep in mind that volunteering helps both you and your community. And yeah.
And the Volunteer Center's here to help you. We're that one-stop shop.
Get out there and do it.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much to all of our guests for being here today, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for another great Hotline.